Another beautiful morning on the ICW. It's just so gorgeous. We are just out off the coast of Georgia, about halfway up Georgia. A couple more, just beautiful. You see lots and lots of dolphins. All different kinds of wildlife. Nice calm weather today. Temperature's just fantastic. I can't imagine couldn't have ordered better weather than this. So freaking incredible. This is why boaters do what they do. We're doing what we're doing. This is what makes all of the work, the maintenance, it makes it all worth it. Got my trusty navigator with me, looking at all of our navigational alerts, checking out for buoys, shoaling, you name it. We've got like 5 different things to look at.
Yeah, I got an alert, okay?
We got 5 different things to look at, so you need to look at all of them to make sure you don't miss anything. And
I got to read one to you right now.
all right, we're coming up on one. Go for it.
Pass R50, which is by 200 feet off, and the range tower by 100 feet off, and favor the red side around the turn. Favor the red. Return to the center of the channel after the bend and favor the outside turn.
So as you can see, our depth, we got down to 5 feet. And now we're gonna go wide around this turn as it suggested. Now we're getting a little deeper, going back up to 8 feet.
And I said after the bend, favor the outside of the turns.
All right, so we will make nice wide turns, just like on the high banks at Daytona. Not so much. Well, my gosh, they're right. We're in 14 feet of water, 15 feet. Woohoo! It's deeper out here. Deeper, better. After the bend.
At the northern exit, do not aim directly for R48A. Take a sweeping turn to the port.
Okay.
Outside of the turn, and then turn to starboard to get in line with R48A, about 200 feet before the buoy.
Sounds good. Stay on the outside. Around the outside. Around the outside. See, we're headed into the awesome Charleston Harbor. Living here as many years as we both have, really cool to come into this city in a completely different way. But not without excitement this morning. The shaft seal packing came loose again. I got to work on tightening those bolts down. Yeah, it was leaking. We pulled about 4 gallons of water out of the bilge from that leaking. And so actually made the repair in motion. So as we were cruising, shut down it was on the port engine. First brought the engine back to idle, brought the transmission back to neutral, shut the engine down, went in the engine room, went back, made the repair, not leaking, cleaned up some of the water. We're back at it again. Sherry had fun driving with just the starboard engine and learning how to maneuver the boat with just one engine. Another good day, and some twists and turns on the ICW as well. It was a couple of turns. We actually kind of took the wrong turn because what looked to be the obvious turn was not the obvious turn. And then the chart plotter is really good most of the time. Sometimes these channel markers are so close together, just with the chart plotter being off by 100 feet or so. I know it sounds like I'm blaming on the chart plotter, but I'm really not. Even the chart plotter just being off just a hair can throw off what you're seeing and what you think might be the right way. But anyway, thankfully we caught both of them right away and was able to get turned around and head in the right direction. So all is good and all a part of the learning. Busy day on the water. We are back at it. Part number 2 of our trip, as we took a couple of days off to go back, get a little bit of work done in the office. Caitlin back to school. Busy channel passing a freighter. Looks empty. Impressive nonetheless. We are just outside of Wrightsville Beach. Another beautiful, gorgeous day on the water. Slowing down because we've got family trying to get off the docks there, and believe it or not, they look far away, but because of the draft of my boat and the wake of these big horsepower engines, it'll rock them pretty good. So trying to make sure that everybody has a good, fun, safe day on the water. Not to wreck it for them. So we are in transit via rental car, headed to the boat. Woo! The piece I think that I don't know that we underestimated this, because we did kind of plan for it, but in just the movement of the boat, so we purchased the boat in Florida and we're bringing it to Delaware, much closer to our home, so it gives us a chance to make the boat ours. We got a couple minor maintenance things that we've got to fix and that sort of thing before we begin our longer journey, recognizing that it's quite the trip, and so we had to break it up a little bit for school, because Caitlin's finishing up school and work and that sort of thing, so we had to do a little bit of back and forth weekends, and so yeah, we had a little bit of time on the road. There's a lot of land administrative things that have to be cared for as a part of the process. The boat had to be registered in we have a registration in process to get the boat registered in Delaware, but we bought the boat in Florida. Florida's really strict. Apparently they watch over every sale pretty closely to make sure that the boat doesn't stay in the state of Florida for more than 30 days after the sale or purchase. And so we had to prove that. So we had to go back, file some paperwork with the state of Florida so that they know that yes, we in fact truly did move the boat out of Florida. Yeah, so it's a lot. We've traveled back and forth now. Our first journey was back and forth to North Carolina, home for a few days, went back to the boat, got the boat from North Carolina up to Norfolk, Virginia, back for a few days. Now we're going back to the boat. Hopefully, at the end of this weekend, weather looks good, winds look good, wave action looks good. We should have a pretty smooth ride from Norfolk, Virginia up to Delaware. You enjoyed it so far?
Yes. I've only had, a dozen meltdowns?
Only a dozen. Only a dozen. But they haven't melted completely down. Just, a little ice cream on the hand outside of the cone, right? So it's not a total meltdown where it falls out of the cone. And Caitlin, say hi, Caitlin. Caitlin's back there eating lunch, gnawing on some chicken. Delicious lunch. All right, so we're looking forward to a great weekend ahead, hopefully effective and productive one in our journey. Nice, safe trip up to Delaware and get into our home Marina. We can't wait for that. We've got some really great activities planned over the next couple of weeks between maintenance and renaming of the boats. Woohoo! We can't wait for that. It's funny because I've been starting to do a little bit of research on the whole renaming ceremony, and a lot of the boaters just say, it's just an excuse to drink. Okay,
course.
Of course. As if that wasn't reason enough. There is, superstitions that go along with that, which, as we get into that ceremony over the course of the next few weeks, we will definitely incorporate some of those. It's fun. It's fun, and we will definitely have fun with it. We look forward to sharing that experience with some friends and giving a tour of the boat and renaming the boat. And really, what's cool is that all of the mistakes and learning that we've made so far get washed away, and everything becomes new. And we'll take our new vessel with our new name, and hopefully a little bit more experience.
Well, what's reassuring too is you have longtime boaters who, when we talk about things that some of the mistakes we've made, lessons learned, they're like, oh yeah, it's no big deal. They're still doing it, or have done it, or laugh it off. It's just everybody's very nice and kind and non-judgmental.
So hope you're following along our journey with us and enjoying it and getting something out of it, inspired a little bit maybe, and we'll keep you updated. Until next time. Coast Guard giving us some updates on activity in the area, changes to charts, things to look out for on our aids to navigation. Leaving Norfolk this morning, getting ready to cruise by the Norfolk Naval Base. Always impressive to go by the military bases, and glad I served, and very proud of that. Another vessel coming up on our starboard side here. You can see it in, oh my gosh, we're getting sandwiched. Vessels on our port, vessels on our starboard. No wake zone must be over. I see the buoys there, and he just took off. So we're going to speed up a little bit there too. I don't see any other. But great morning leaving Norfolk. At the Marina, we had to do a little bit of a backing job to get out, because we had a boat behind us, a boat in front of us, and while we weren't completely in like a parallel parking situation, I certainly had to be mindful of the front of the boat, the back of the boat. So we had our pre-departure meeting to discuss exactly how we were going to do it, and the boat that actually just passed us, our original plan last night, we had talked about it when we were having our drinks over at sunset, changed a bit, because the vessel that just passed us, they pulled in last night. We were going to pull into the slip in front of us, back out, and then just kind of steer our way out of the marina. It was like an L-shaped floating dock, so had to get in and around. But anyway, he pulled in, so that kind of foiled our plans to turn in and back out of there, and then just drive straight out. So we decided to just bump the boat forward just a bit. We pivoted off of our front cleat, pivoted the rear end out, and then we just backed our way all the way out. So Sherry was my eyes and ears, my rear view mirror on the aft deck, kind of steering me which way to go. We went nice and slow, super slow, and it went super smooth. So a nice little confidence builder. I needed it. A beautiful morning, should be a beautiful day out on the Chesapeake Bay. This will be our first day in the official Chesapeake Bay. We do have to stop for fuel though. So we're going to stop about midday, grab some fuel. So we thought we had some fuel in our emergency tanks, but we don't. We got to stop. We'll fill up our emergency tanks, make sure those are full. From there, fill up our main tanks. It'll be a hefty bill. All right, so we made our first stop heading out of Norfolk. We needed to stop for fuel, so that was pretty important, and man, am I glad we did. Doing the math with the tank tender, we have I guess it's kind of neat, but it'd be neater if I was 100% confident in it, but I'm getting there. But it's, basically you pump air into it, and based on the pressure, it tells you how much is in the tank. So we took our tank readings this morning. So, and as I calculated, we had 56 gallons in the port, 64 gallons in the starboard, and I'm thinking we had close to 100 gallons in our emergency tanks. Now, emergency tanks don't go off of a tank tender. There's a gauge. You have to configure all the different fuel valves in different compartments. Look at the fuel gauge with just each separate emergency tank open. So we did that early this morning and realized, we don't have any fuel in our emergency tanks. So we were like, okay, we thought we'd be able to get through most of the day without having to stop for fuel, but no, we had to stop. And I'm glad we did, because not only was our emergency tanks pretty much empty, after pumping 180 gallons in our starboard tank and pumping about 175 or so, I'll get the specific numbers when the receipt comes back. I don't know if I want to see that receipt. It's going to be a big bill. We didn't pump near as much as I thought we would into that tank. But after filling with I should be able to take, my numbers. So stick with the port tank, for example. I thought I'd be able to, be able to see exactly how much fuel we had. Unfortunately, I ended up being about 30 gallons off. So instead of being down to our last, say, 100 gallons of fuel, we were probably down to our last, 50, 60 gallons of fuel, which may sound like a lot. With the cruising speed, we're burning about a gallon of fuel per mile. With only about 60 gallons, we would only be able to go about 60 more miles, which is about 5 or 6 hours, but you don't want to go that low for sure. And, not when I'm sitting on 600 gallons, potential gallons of fuel. Why take it down to those last 50? So we sweated it, and then thankfully we stopped. Really cool marina. We're at this place called Salt Ponds Marina. It's just north of Norfolk. You kind of come up and it's a little cove, and you come back in this little cove, and it's a really cool spot. You could see where it's like protected from weather and currents and those sorts of things. So easy to get to the fuel dock, easy to get out. Although what should be easy, I had a little difficulty getting in to the dock, got spun around a little bit, but had some wind coming in between these buildings over here, kind of kicking my back end around a little bit. But so I was able to get the bow in pretty easily. Had a little fun trying to get the rear end back around. So eventually ended up just coming in a little harder and spinning the boat around, and we got it, but took us a couple of tries. But that's part of the learning process, because there's spots up and down here where you don't feel the wind at all, but then there's spots where you do, and it's just, I guess, where the wind comes through these buildings in between them and swirls around a little bit in this little canal. So we are in the Chesapeake Bay finally, and head north. Not too bad. A little I would say it's choppy, because you don't really even see whitecaps on the water at all. The wind is anywhere from 10 to 15 knots, gusts a little bit higher than that. Not too bad. We're braving it. Sherry's thinking maybe she has to take some tripping after a bit, so I don't know, we'll see. But interesting is we're coming up the over by Cape Charles. You can hopefully, I don't know if you can see this in the distance. You can see all these like cargo ships, and here's kind of what it looks like on the AIS and our chart plotter. It's kind of interesting just to see all of those boats and centralized in that one little area there. And you can see our little tiny boat over here. All right, so we are heading up to Chesapeake, and we are in like crab pot hell. Hey, I love the crab pots because I love what comes out of them crab pots. I love my crabs. It tastes so delicious. However, when you're on a boat and you're cruising, it's not good to run over them. They'll mess with your prop and ruin your day in a hurry, and it can get crazy expensive and all that kind of stuff. It is. It's been a little bit of a wild journey in the Chesapeake, because you're cruising right along, nice and smooth, and everything looks great. And then all of a sudden, you blink, and there's like 1,000 crab pots. No joke. Then they're spread out all over, and so you're weaving your way through them and trying your best not to hit any of them or run over any of them. Another fun obstacle in our journey. It's just another great lesson that you have to be paying attention all the time. The other thing too, we had talked about, and we were a little too crazy, but we were like, oh man, maybe we should do an overnight on the Chesapeake that'll get us to our destination. And nah, there's no way. Not with all these crab pots. You'd for sure hit several of them, and you don't have we got a spotlight, but it's there's no way you'd be able to see them all in time and that sort of thing. So it's just, that would not be good. Well, we successfully made it. We are at our anchorage, Smith Creek, a nice little inlet off of the Potomac, watching the sunset. Sherry's whipping up some dinner. I'll get her out here in a few minutes to catch the sunset. Another good day on the water. Hopefully one more day and we'll be back. We'll be in our destination where we can truly get the boat cleaned and make the boat ours. We're really looking forward to that. So have a good night. More tomorrow.
Today is the big day. We are pulling into our home marina at Summit North in Bear, Delaware. We're very excited. It's been a long couple of weeks getting the boat all the way up here from Florida.
941 nautical miles.
Whew.
We gotta go in, we gotta pump out first before we hit our dock. So, a couple of tricky maneuvers to get in there. First off, it's a little shallow when you go in, so we have to stay on the starboard side kind of going in. We've heard some reviews where people complain a little bit about the shallowness going in there. So we just have to be careful, stay on the right side. I believe it's been dredged relatively recently, so we should be fine. We're about half, the tide's actually rising. We're about halfway up the tide. So, and the tide is about a 3.5 foot tide, 3.5, 4 foot tide, something like that. So, yeah, we should be fine, but.
Well, it's funny because we've had